All right. Well, good evening and welcome to this week's live stream on traveling on everyday spend. Um, Made a couple of changes to the format that I hope that you all will like and get some benefit out of. I'll be happy to show you that when we get to the agenda. And as always, want to thank each and every person that's taken their time out of their schedule to whether you're watching this live stream or you're watching the recording, the videos and the shorts. Thank you very much for for sharing your time with me. Really appreciate it and the comments and the input that you provide, and hope that you'll be able to do the same thing for this live stream tonight to let me know how if you're liking what's getting put out there. And if you do, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Well, I don't want to take up you want to be good with your time. So why don't we go and take a look at the agenda for today? Let's see right here. As far as the agenda, what we're going to do is we're going to obviously cover the bonus offers. We're going to talk about the transfer bonuses as we always do. We're going to talk about the quarter three categories for the Freedom Flex and the Freedom. And then the first thing, new one is we're going to look at a couple of Reddit topics that I came across and kind of discuss these. And the first one is going to be on travel cards versus cashback for economy travel, which I thought was a good topic to talk about. We're also going to talk about the new IHG redemption that's in the works for Kauai, Hawaii, the Hilton Lifestyle Collection expansion that'll be going on in Iceland, the new Delta Premium lounges that are coming. And then we're going to touch on Reddit topic number two that I came up with, which had the topic of if anyone is growing tired of the rewards game, which I thought was really thought provoking and interesting to see a lot of different people's views on that. And definitely will be interested in getting your feedback and your thoughts on that. And then lastly, to take a look at all of the United credit cards just to make a good comparison. And they have some elevated numbers right now and see if there's any that may be one that fits for you. So we'll take a look at that. Want to make sure to say hi to John, of course, as well as Matt. Thank you both for stopping through. Really appreciate it. But let's go ahead and get started. So as far as our credit card offers, still have a lot of things going on, especially with American Express. We've got the Hilton cards that are going to be elevated through July 31st of this year. We've still got a Marriott Bonvoy business card at its best in its card's history, going through July 10th. I still mention the American Express Gold, which you can still see on the incognito or in private mode for 90,000 points versus 60,000. As far as the American Express Platinum, I wasn't able, last week I talked about that I was seeing the 175,000 points that was originally being talked about with referral links and such. I don't see that. I didn't see it the two or three times that I did go into it this time. But once again, I always recommend that people take a look at it just to make sure. And then we've got the Delta cards going through July 27th, I'm sorry, July 17th, and some good value there for people that are into flying Delta. So definitely ones to take a look at. And then for Chase, I will continue mentioning the Freedom Flex as far as different options. I went into it again today in private mode and saw $150 with 5% on groceries versus the $200 typical bonus that you're going to see. So if you if you're looking at the Freedom Flex and want something more than just the cashback, take a look through the incognito. You might see some options that might appeal. We still have the British Airways, Aer Lingus, and Iberia credit cards at the 85,000 Avios. The Southwest credit cards are nearing its end. I saw the points guy reference June 26th is when it ends. And I will put a link for the live stream where I kind of went over the Southwest credit cards and what might be some sweet spots for depending on how often you fly Southwest. So I'll make sure to put that link in there. And then, of course, Chase, we've got the United credit cards that I'll be touching on tonight, and provide information for that to hopefully help you make a decision if any of these cards may be for you as well. Then, as far as city, we still got the City Strata Premier at the 75,000 points, in the City Advantage at the 100,000 miles for a $10,000 spend is still active. And then I saw that Barclays now has the Aviator Red card at 70,000 miles, with, of course, which is kind of a traditional thing for them, just making your first purchase and paying the annual fee within the first 90 days. So if you are interested in American Airlines, it is a could be a very good option for you to look at, to that might be able to fit the need for you. So I will put that out there for you. And then as far as the June transfer bonuses, not too much left right now. We kind of went through our one big run at the beginning of the month. And so now we are just at Avianca at the 15%, with American Express. Now, Chase does have a pretty good one related to Aeroplan. It is 20% um, um, a transfer bonus, but if you have the Aeroplan credit card, it will bump up to 30%, as long as you do a minimum of 50,000 point transfer. Aeroplan obviously has a lot of flexibility. I still don't recommend speculating, but if you find something that can work for you, this might be a good deal, especially if you have the Aeroplan credit card, and that's going to be going through the end of July. And then lastly, we've got Cathay Pacific, and disregard the mistake I made mentioning still Turkish down there, but it's Cathay Pacific for 15% transfer bonus through July 20th. There are some spots where the Asia miles might be able to work for you. Not a big redemption, but if you've already got something planned, might be something to consider. But that is all we've got for the June transfer bonuses for this week. And then let's take a quick look, because we now can register for the categories for the Chase Freedom Flex and the Freedom as of June 15th. Quarter three bonuses categories look good, with gas and electric vehicle charging stations. We've got movie theaters as well as select live entertainment purchases. Couple things that I wanted to make sure that people keep in mind when you look at doing any of this. One, first and foremost, you got to make sure that you register, and act to activate those bonuses. So make sure, get it out of the way. You're able to do that right now. So go ahead and get that done. Don't lose any potential points for yourself. And as far as the movie theaters, as far as things to keep in mind, now concession stands will typically code differently. So if you are going to use the card at the concession stand, you very well may not get the bonus points for concessions. You may get lucky, but just keep that in mind that it's probably not going to end up happening. And then as far as the gas and electric vehicle charging, obviously only merchants who primarily sell this at a normal station. So the warehouses, the charging stations that are on the that are not part of a formal setup may not work. The superstores. So just be careful and be aware of what may or may not work. And then select live entertainment is very wide. And we're seeing that a lot with the entertainment categories when these come up, whether it is what we've seen a lot with Capital One Entertainment. And we're seeing a lot of that with Chase as well. You can see that there's a number of options. So almost anything that you might do for that kind of thing, you will find a space, probably find something to be able to use it on. So definitely keep the card available with anything that you're looking at doing from July through September. And then topic four is kind of the first thing I wanted to touch on with Reddit. And I wanted to add these topics just to kind of exchange some information and some thoughts from what I'm seeing on some of these Reddit topics, share them with you, and then get your thoughts and share my thoughts with it, and just kind of engage in some conversation and some thoughts. And so whether you're on the live stream or you watch the recording, put your comments in the comment section, and let's have a discussion about what your thoughts are, because I'm sure that all of us are going to have different perspectives on these topics, and that's the whole beauty of this, is to be able to share and share your thoughts with others, and you might be able to help a lot of other people with your thoughts. So on this one, basically the person that would put this on Reddit, has said that he basically was looking at what's the best route for his or her economy travel, and talked about that the person could use their U.S. Bank Altitude Reserve for 4.5 to 5% cash back with Apple Pay, and that it would be easy to use. When it came to the travel cards, was not really kind of viewed them as only for business and first class redemptions for big type of um, um, aspirational type travel. Didn't view it as from an potential for the economy standpoint. And then the 2x credit cards didn't really appeal to the person, because they would do better on the cash back. And then some of the responses that I was reading about talked about the Venture X maybe as an option, which was interesting, as for the fact that it's a premium travel card, but thought about that $300 allotment that you get could take you some places with your economy travel that you're looking at. And then second, a lot of people were asking, well, where do they want to travel? What did they consider economy travel? And that we didn't really know, so we're just left to speculate. And then talked about don't look at it as one versus the other, have some diversification. And then the last person I thought had an interesting thing as far as getting the cash back and placing it into a high yield savings account. I did a video talking about high yield savings accounts, and what they would be able to do and why they are so much different than the brick and mortar. I'll make sure to put a link for that in the description at the end of the show. But I thought this was a good topic, and I'll give a couple of my quick thoughts. I think that I think it's important to have the flexibility to go either way, and that's why I really like the ability to whether it's going to be a Capital One, Saver One, and having a venture card to put with it so that you can go back and forth between cash back and points and miles, or of course the traditional ones of Citi with the Strata Premier or Chase with the Sapphire Preferred. Um, I would be looking at some of those ones that you don't have to have much of an investment in, especially when you're looking at the Capital One, where you could literally do it with no annual fee on both if you wanted to, and to keep the cost down. To give yourself some flexibility for that. I think the other part of it that is interesting is the fact that if you have an idea of what hotel and how you want to fly, especially if you're kind of married to how you like doing that, then it may make some sense to get a travel card, especially if it's a hotel credit card that might give you a free night, if that fit with economy for you. So I think that it's really not an either or thing. I think that it does make sense to look at, especially if you're going to save up for multiple economy travels that you might do, or it might be just one economy travel. Everybody's situation's different, and I think that being able to have cash back through a high yield savings account does make good sense. But I think that this changes every year, every 6 months. We all have our different travel habits of where we're going to go and what we might consider economy travel. But I think that you shouldn't pigeonhole yourself either way, of that it's got to be travel cards or it's got to be cashback cards. And I think that's kind of the biggest flexibility that's going to be important. And I'll be very interested in hearing you all's thoughts of what you all look at, especially if you do a lot of economy travel. But even if you don't, what are your thoughts when it comes to economy travel, of what you think might be the best route to be able to accomplish that? So I'll definitely look forward to your comments and your feedback on that. And like I said, I thought this would be a good thing just to kind of share thoughts and opinions in the comment section. I will put a link for the Reddit topic if you want to get involved there as well. But that's the first thing I wanted to kind of put out as something for us to give some thought to. The next item is the new IHG redemption that we've got, and this is going to be in Kauai. So if you are familiar with, and maybe if you're even a little bit older, the Cocoa Palms Resort in Kauai, very it was pretty ritzy back in the day. Elvis, Gene Autry, Rita Hayworth were people that stayed there during that time, and it's really been shuttered since 1992. But there is going to be resurrected as the Cocoa Palms, and it'll be a Kimpton hotel which participates with IHG Rewards. They expect to put about $400 million into invested into resurrecting the resort. Once completed, it's going to have 350 rooms, three pools, multiple restaurants and bars, and the original hotel's evening torch lighting ceremony will be resurrected as well, which will be very interesting. I've seen some film of that from back in the day, and it was really interesting. It is set to open in 2026. I think there's going to be a lot of value with it, and especially if you have one of the credit cards that give you platinum status to be able to get that night free. And especially when there are actually only two Holiday Inn Express hotels in all of Hawaii. And I think that obviously anything we can be able to get, especially on Kauai, Grand Hyatt is really nice in Kauai, but we need more options. And I think this has a potential to be very good from an economic standpoint, and seeing something that getting resurrected that has been shuttered for decades at this point. So that is something to look forward to over on the island of Kauai. I see Matt for the rewards being worth it. I think it's always worth it, but just think of it as subsidizing my travel. Fly JetBlue, but don't have status to book even more space on points alone. I agree. I think that we all need to end up having we all need to determine what our goals are. I think that's the key. There's a lot of ways to get there. And I really appreciate you for throwing out your thought, Matt. I see Mr. Kohl, young and single economy every time. Income is a factor in your younger years. Family man with kids, still economy flights more often, but getting older and want to travel in more comfort. I'm definitely along with you. Right for me right now at my age, I'm not a person that likes flying a great deal, um, but when I do, I want to fly well. But the economy thing is definitely something, and you make a very good point as far as I mean, and really the economy thing really can apply at any time. Young and single, be having a family because you got the kids and all. And I know a lot of friends of mine that have kids, and so they have to fly economy to make it work. May not always be the best what they want to do, but it fits for their situation. So I think that is an excellent point to be making. And I see that Mads talked about, but I can book regular economy and pay a discount for even more space. That's right. I think the premium economy has really helped a lot of people to be able to get just a little bit extra for still a decent price. And so those options are definitely going to be really helpful. Like you say, our preferences changes over time. It does, and the economy and your economic situation can change each year for what you need to be able to do, for what you want to be able to do. So excellent thoughts on that. Appreciate you all sharing on that. Then we've got the Hilton Lifestyle Collection expansion in Iceland. So Hilton will be opening up two new lifestyle collection hotels in Iceland. And I had saw how to pronounce this one time before, and it escapes me. It's not Akureyri, but I'm going to struggle with that one for now. The Akureyri Skade Hotel um, is where they're going to have one of the locations. It's in the northern part of Iceland, really close to the circles where you're going to be able to see the northern lights. Um, and the second one is, as you can imagine, right in Reykjavik. Um, but the one location there in Akureyri, I know I should look that up again for the pronouncing of pronounce how that's pronounced. But there is so few nice hotels up there from what I've read. There is one luxury hotel up there that is off the chart expensive up there, but there's not a lot of hotels there, other hotels there. And so that would be a very good location for somebody that wants to see the Northern Lights because that area does have some good location. And of course, we can ask the King of Iceland, John, who's here, who's recently been there and has been heading back. So this was definitely for him, for me finding this. And then the second hotel is going to be in Reykjavik. It'll be 170 rooms, and we'll focus on sustainability. We don't know what the collection it's going to be in. The one for the other location is going to be in the Curio collection, but it will be a lifestyle collection in the Reykjavik area. And it is slated for opening. Oops, skip that. There. Um, and so we have it where it's slated for opening there. As far as thoughts, there are only three Hilton hotels in the entire country of Iceland. One Hilton, one Canopy. I should say four actually. One Hilton, one Canopy, and two Curio collections, and all of them are right around Reykjavik. So that one location, moving to the so far out to the northern part of Iceland, and there is an airport there that has air service with EasyJet, as well as a couple of other ones. Iceland Air is another one of them that flies up there. So you don't have to necessarily fly into Reykjavik to still be able to go there and enjoy it. And these existing hotels, as I mentioned, are right around there. So the lifestyle collection is something that Hilton is focusing on expanding. They are supposed to open up another 100 hotels this year worldwide under the lifestyle collection alone. So it's good to see that for Iceland. It is something that I do have on the bucket list to be able to see the Northern Lights. And definitely, if you want to see anything in regards to Iceland, definitely check out John, the King of Iceland, as we all call him. And as he said, that Iceland for his people. So it's definitely looking forward to that and something for people to consider. I see Matt has talked about I blame Icelandic being one of the most insane European languages to to learn to pronounce. Finnish being the other. And I will not claim to have any knowledge on the Finnish, and barely can do anything with the Icelandic. But that is a good opportunity for Hilton expansion and for so little there, especially in that northern region near the Circle. Then we've got to talk about the new Delta premium lounges, which is interesting. And it's interesting for a few reasons, but let's touch on the three premium lounges that are slated right now. We got JFK that's slated for this month, maybe the later part of this month, and this is going to be in JFK Terminal 4. Now we've talked about Terminal 4 a lot as of late because of the fact that you're going to have all three credit card of the lounges there in Terminal 4. And now you get this Delta Premium Lounge to go there as well. It's going to be their largest lounge at 38,000 square feet. And that includes the year round terrace that'll be there. They're talking about full service brazier. I had to make sure to look that up. I knew it was related to French, but I didn't know anything about it. So I wanted to throw the definition in there as a French inspired or modeled with a relaxed setting. So seems to fit the spot. Chef assisted casual market with open kitchen and dedicated wellness areas. Definitely would look forward to that. There's some renderings. I'll put a link for I think a couple of the sites have the renderings, and I'll make sure to put that in there for you to be able to take a look at. The second one is going to be LAX in Los Angeles in late 2024. Don't know when specifically. LAX, it'll be in Terminal 3 in the international portion. Only 10,000 square feet, though. It is going to be directly accessible by elevator from Delta One check-in. So don't necessarily know what we're going to see with that 10,000 square feet. It's not a lot, and we don't have any real information on that as of yet. And then lastly, late 2024 as well, we're looking at Boston and Terminal E. Now, this one's going to only be 6,300 square feet, but it's going to have seating for about 120 passengers, but it will be connected to the newly renovated Delta Sky Club. And so the speculation is that this will basically have an elevated dining experience, which would make some sense for that area, especially at that square footage, to kind of fit that spot for the Delta Premium setting. I see that we got John's going to help out with Icelandic. He should be able to help us all. It's appreciated. Look forward to visiting the Premium Lounge at JFK very soon. From John and Matt, everyone can have Terminal 4. I'm waiting for who bids on Terminal 6 and Terminal 1. Yeah, I must admit, I've only been to JFK a couple of times, so I'm still a novice at the whole space. But since I've heard so much about Terminal 4 constantly now, it is about time to start hearing about some of the other terminals and what's going to go on there. Now, one of the interesting things as far as these premium lounges is we've not really heard what it's going to take to get into the premium lounge. And so I wanted to kind of give a point of view of taking a look at what American does with their flagship, as well as what United Polaris does. So for I'll just kind of skip the flagship first and go right to Polaris. So both of these basically launched in 2016 as far as their premium brands, 2016, 2017. And so for the United Polaris, it's basically for the international business class in the air and on the ground. They only have Polaris at Chicago, at Houston, LAX, Newark, San Francisco, as well as Dulles in Washington, D.C. Now, access is only by flying international business class on United or Star Alliance partners. So it doesn't have a lot of ways to get into that one. And of course, for those that might be aware of the United card, the United Club Infinite, that is just for the United Club. It does not get you access to Polaris. But what I thought was interesting is when you compare it to American flagship, same thing where we're looking at launching in 2016, and then in JFK in 2017 is where they kind of started doing some premium lounge. Now that location in JFK doesn't exist anymore. There's multiple lounges that's kind of morphed into, from what I've heard, or that's around it. Now for access, there's only 4 locations for them in Chicago, in DFW for Dallas Fort Worth, LAX, and Miami. The interesting thing is that there are a lot of ways to be able to get into the American Airlines flagship lounge. You've got, of course, if you're flying international or first class and it's flagship designated, international business or first class, then there are some designated transcontinental flights that are designated that also qualify. And then there are a few designated just US domestic flights. A couple of them are basically flying to Hawaii, whether it's DFW and Chicago are a couple of the examples to Hawaii. All of those depending upon their designation, will get you flagship lounge access. You can also get flagship lounge access if you are flying on any class and you have either the platinum or platinum pro or executive platinum under American. Alaska, if you have the MVP gold or the MVP gold 75K. And then, of course, One World, Emerald, or Sapphire, depending upon how you've gotten into getting that status. If we've talked about it different times in the past when we saw that British Airways or Virgin had different um, ways to be able to get status with them that kind of lets you be able to go to the lounges domestically because you had the access in the status through a foreign program. So a lot of differences. So what will be the sweet spot for Delta? Will they just make it for the person that is flying Delta, as well as maybe the One World? I'm sorry, uh, the Sky Team related ones, or will they open it up a little bit? There's actually even a way, and I forgot to mention that you can actually pay for a day pass to go to flagship. Now, I definitely don't expect that we're going to see anything like that with Delta by any means. This is especially with those three, and with two of them being so much on the smaller side. I don't think we're going to see a lot of availability unless you are flying or you do have some high tier status. But we're still waiting to see what that access is, and hopefully we'll see that in the next week or so. Um, I see that Matt has talked about Terminal One is a remodel that's a few billion, and I forget who, but it will be a lot of natural lighting. That's always good to help enhance that experience. Um, so that's what I want to mention as far as the Delta Premium Lounges. We'll have to keep our eyes open for what we're going to be able to see with that, and how and who's going to be able to access it and how. And before I wanted to get to topic number two related to Reddit, and which was the title of this live stream, is I do also want to point out that I will have a video. It's been a bit of time since I've had a video out. That I will be having one come out on Saturday, and it's one that I promised someone that I would get done, but it took me forever to get it done, unfortunately. And this is basically it's going to be a video looking at using your Capital One miles to be able to fly on US domestic airlines. One thing, if you've got Capital One miles, and I was kind of caught off guard with when I first looked at it, was that there was no direct US domestic airline as part of their travel partners. No Delta, no United or Alaska or American, of course. And so wanted to be able to show some transfer partner options. What's the cost going to be for a lot of different flights from short haul, medium haul, long haul, transcontinental, and even to Hawaii. And also threw in a couple bonuses as far as being able to fly with Capital One miles with domestic airlines to go to the Caribbean as well as Mexico. So I'll have that out on Saturday and get back into a rhythm of getting things out on each Saturday. But I wanted to point that out. The other topic, this Reddit topic, which, like I mentioned, was the title of this, was is anyone growing tired of the reward game? And I thought this was really good and interesting, whether you've been in points and miles for a short period or if you're an OG that's been in it for years or decades. I thought it was a good topic. And so basically, the poster had basically said that they were finding his or herself less into it as time passes. 5 years ago, they were into optimization, getting the most points for each category, and they were excited to use certain cards. They're still an active member of the game, but it's definitely has lost the luster for them. And a few of the topics that a few of the responses was talking about the effort beyond just a regular 2x card wasn't worth it. Having one or two additional cards to maximize a couple of categories seemed beneficial. And then a couple of people were just talking about the aspect of churning credit cards for the for the sign up bonuses. I thought this was an interesting topic because I think it's easy to get tired related to the reward game. And I think that my opinion is that once again, each person has to determine what their goal is. And the goal will change, can change every few months to each year or even longer. And I think that becomes the thing. For me, between my wife and I, we've got probably, I know we have over 40 credit cards. Um, Now, out of those 40 credit cards, I barely use only a few of them. And the other ones, because made sure that we were getting no annual fee cards, they all just pretty much sit in a binder, as a lot of other people that are in the this points and miles game. But I think that each year, when I determine where I want to go, really kind of ends up giving me some of that excitement because now it's a matter of what can I do to bring down the cost. I don't always look to get it for free. It's something I would hope to be able to do, but it helps me to whether if you're able to start with looking at subsidizing the cost of your travel to free up more money for yourself is a good start. But if your main goal is to be able to fully maximize, it can be a wary run. I don't use my cards as optimal as I could. It's not, I could get 5x here and I get 4x or 4x versus 3x. And it's mainly because I do believe for me, it can be a wary type of game. And it's not something that I really want to do all for that. I'll focus at times when I think it's going to be either easy or it's absolutely necessary for me to really maximize points because I know what's the trip that I want to be able to do. And so and I think that kind of helps when you know exactly what you're trying to be able to strive for to really determine how much you want to maximize. I'm not going to be able to fully maximize myself for all point redemptions because I work full time. So I don't have the flexibility to be able to take full advantage of some great deals, especially last minute deals that are within the last week or two or so. So the luster for me is knowing where I want to go, have a plan for what I want to be able to do, and just be able to plot out, okay, this is how many points I need to be able to try to get. So interested in hearing what you all's thoughts are on this. I think that it can be a wary road for people. Um, and I hope that people don't end up feeling like they've lost the luster on it as long as you're still traveling. And I say that from a travel standpoint. If you're a cashback type of person, that whether hopefully that money that you're getting on the cash back is going towards whether it is even as basic as your basic needs, to maybe that you're saving the cash back now for and you're going to be able to pay, who knows, maybe you're paying a month's worth of groceries 4 months down the line. Everybody's got to have their own different goal. And I think that's what can help keep the luster for it is being able to see successes for those. And it doesn't have to be something so long term of at the end of the year. It can be just some small milestone that you're looking at. Or like I said, if you're doing cashback, it can be something that can pay for itself immediately. So I'm curious of what you all's thoughts are on that. Um, and I see that Matt was talking about Terminal 4 and Terminal 6 is a new terminal being built next to Terminal 5, JetBlue, Lufthansa, and others. Okay, that was good. Uh, Terminal 1 is a remodel, a few billion, I mentioned that. And I travel. Tim McDonald talked about I travel three different ways: work, economy, and vacation mode. And I think that makes perfect sense. And I think that each of those modes can be exclusive or they can blend themselves together, depending upon where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish. And I think that makes perfect sense. I see Tim chime back in. Each has a different approach, and that makes sense. But that's the key, I think, is that for Tim, he knows that he's got three different modes, and they're all different. So he's already done the legwork of knowing himself and what he wants to be able to accomplish. And I think that's the same thing that we all need to be able to try to do, because there's a lot to be accomplished in this points and miles game. I mean, it's truly astounding to me. Um, I've accumulated, I think probably in the last 3 to 4 years, I've accumulated probably a little over 1 million points. And I was able to use those points to take a week at a Zalara all-inclusive resort in the Dominican last year, with only paying the taxes for the Delta flight. And it was astonishing. It was something I wouldn't even have done probably to save up the money to be able to accomplish it. And then this year, by due to a lot of breaks and a lot of luck, I'm gonna go to Australia for Christmas and New Year's for a bucket list trip to see the fireworks. Never would have imagined being able to do it. Like I said, a lot of luck. It definitely wasn't all skill by any means. But that that redemption that I'll do for that in cash is about over $50,000. Mainly because it is off the chart expensive to go there during the holidays. So it's a bucket list trip that I'm accomplishing um, because of points and miles, and that's all there is to it. With really still just my everyday spend, but it was accumulated over time. So whether you're an economy person or whether you've got it like Tim has, where it's broken out between the economy as work and vacation mode, just kind of have an idea of what you want to be able to accomplish, because points and miles can give you that opportunity. And once again, it doesn't have to always pay the entire bill. It can be enough to subsidize the bill, whether it is to have you be able to stay or fly a little bit better than you would have straight in cash. And it doesn't always have to be the bucket list item or the grand redemption. It can be just the flight to go see the family. Maybe a flight that you wouldn't have been able to take because you just didn't have the money to throw together for it. I know I've been there, and I'm sure probably others have been there too. So wanted to kind of throw that out of just kind of what everybody's mindset is about points and miles. And do you end up finding times where you're getting wary, getting tired of the process and the grind that you may feel it is? And if so, how do you deal with it? And is it taking luster away from you related to the game? Appreciate Mr. Coco threw in again. Some people also point out that they spend more time on this hobby than before. Amex is good at making you spend money. It is. They definitely that whole coupon game of making sure that when they raise the annual fee, they put more things into it for you to try to redeem yourself to spend money. And I know I've been caught in that trap myself. I do still like my cards, most of them, but it is definitely something to be aware of. Once again, it comes back to you need to really know what you want to accomplish, and if something doesn't fit, then you need to, especially if it's going to cost you an annual fee, you need to let it go. The credit hit that you may take is only going to be for a short period of time in most cases. So I appreciate you throwing that out there, and I appreciate everybody's input on that. And definitely, if for those that aren't on the live stream, put your comments down and let me know what your thoughts are about this game that we're all in. and kind of where you stand, how long you've been in it, and do you feel that it gets weary for you sometime? I think it'll be helpful for good to share. So I wanted to throw that out, and let me know if these kind of topics of becoming part of this live stream is helpful. Is it thought provoking, and does it bring a little bit more value? If it does, I'll definitely continue to do it. But I'd like to make sure to get your feedback. And then the United credit cards, and kind of looking at a guide of this. We basically got four credit cards with United. You've got the Gateway, you've got the Explorer, you have the Quest, and you have the Club Infinite. And all of the and but I think that as we look through these cards, we're probably only going to see I probably will think most people will probably only end up with looking at one, maybe two of the four credit cards. But I want to make sure to share this, and so that if you're considering it, that you have one place where you're able to kind of look at the whole picture for yourself. So as far as all of these cards, pretty much have some similar baseline benefits. Um, Zero for a foreign transaction fee, which is not surprising. It is a travel card. 25% back on United in-flight and club premium drinks purchases. Secondary CD collision damage waiver on the Gateway, and then it's primary on the other credit cards. Um, Cancellation interruption insurance reimbursement is up to $1,500 per person, $6,000 per trip. You'll get purchase protection of for anything within that 120 days, damage or theft up to $500 per claim, and $50,000 per account. If you are at the Explorer level and up, it actually jumps up to $10,000 per claim. And then you have an extended warranty with an additional year on purchases with 3 years or less. And a lot of these you can tell kind of fit with the FISA signature kind of standard categories that come with it. And then, of course, the primary is kind of a chase thing where we see that a lot of their credit cards have primary CDW. But now for the United Gateway card, you're looking at a zero annual fee. You're going to have 30,000 miles with just $1,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. 7x with United flights. Now 5x of that is just being a member of the United family, essentially the club. And then 2x is all that comes with the card. And then 2x miles on purchases of gas stations, as well as local transit and commuting. It's a very basic card. It's nice that it has no annual fee, but I think what we're going to end up finding on this is that it is not necessarily the card for most people. But we'll take a look at the next one, and I think we're going to see that things will grow up a lot more. And we'll definitely say hi to Lonnie. Call me Lonnie. Great site, as well as John and as well as Matt. Appreciate you stopping through. Three excellent content creators that you should definitely take a look at. Um, then the next one to look at past the Gateway, as I mentioned, is the United Explorer, and I think you're going to find that this becomes the first sweet spot for the United credit cards. You're going to have zero annual fee for the first year, $95 thereafter. So even at the $95, that's a fair number that you're going to see for a lot of the kind of intro to mid intro um, travel credit cards that you see, whether it's hotel, airline, where we're starting to see some benefits. We're also going to be looking at an intro bonus that's at 60,000 miles with $3,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. We're going to get 7x flying United. We're going to get 4x on a lot of on the hotels booked through United Hotels. Now, once again, that's a combination of being a United member at 2x, and you get 2x additional with having the card. You're also going to get 2x on United purchases, as well as dining, and you're also going to get two United club passes one-time use per year. Now, I think that is one of the first really nice things with that. So, especially if you're not flying much, but you like United, that is a nice spot for something that's only $95 to be able to have you and a travel partner, or you being able to go twice of being able to get into the United Club as a nice break. Especially if you're a person that has any enjoyment of lounges, I think that that's a nice touch with it. Then you also get your first check bag free, which is kind of common that you should get with the $95 card. You're also going to get up to $100 statement credit for global entry, TSA pre-check, or Nexus. It's another convenience thing that for me, who is a person that's not a great person that likes flying, gets a lot of benefit with the global entry. I had TSA pre-check first because it took a long time to get global entry, but really created a convenience in getting a card at $95 to provide that 100 to up to $100 credit for every 4 years to be able to do that. Well worth it. Then you also have primary card holder and the card member are eligible for complimentary upgrades. Take that for what it's worth. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot that you're going to be able to get with that, but it's nice that it's there. And then you're going to be able to earn up to 1K of premier qualifying points, PQPs, with spend. And then I repeated the first check bag free because I liked it so much. So then you're also going to have baggage delay insurance, lost luggage reimbursement, and trip delay reimbursement, all with this $95 credit card. So I think that's the first spot that you're going to see where if you are a person that flies United even every so often, that you're going to be able to see that that card probably is going to be able to do a lot for you. And I believe that there's also the ability where you're going to see more award availability by having that credit card when you're signed in versus even the average person being able to see there. So that was also an additional benefit to consider with that. See Lonnie talking about, hey John, lots of lines going on. And then yeah, it is a great card. I am a person that does not fly United much at all, but for a $95 card that's going to give me some peace of mind and some comfort, that's well worth it. I think that that's why it's going to be the first sweet spot for the casual traveler because you're going to be able to get that 90 value of $95 out of it with one flight with a companion or two flights flying solo. And I don't think that's a lot to be able to have to get through to use to get the full value of that. The next card is the United Quest card. And so you're looking at a $250 annual fee, an increase in the intro bonus for that one, as well as you're going to get 500 of the PQPs up front. We're going to see that the miles for flight bumps up to 8. We're also going to see that we still get the hotel if when you're booking through United, as well as you're going to get 3x on purchases after earning the $125 annual United purchase credit, which we will be able to look at. 2x on dining, 2x on all other transit, which obviously has a lot of different variety, and then 2x on select streaming. That $125 though United purchase credit is where we start taking a dent out of that $250 annual fee. So that ends up being a nice spot. Now, what we don't end up getting though is we don't get the two United Club passes. So that's kind of where you need to end up looking at of what really fits for what you want to be able to do. And now, as far as additional, now we're going to get the second check bag free through the United Quest, as well as baggage delay, lost luggage, trip delay reimbursement. So you kind of see now that with 95 versus 250, yes, you're getting $125 credit if you are for United purchases. But keep in mind, if you normally do your United with points, that's not necessarily going to help you. So definitely factor that in. And that's why, while this card may have a fit for some people, I think that $95 United Explorer card is probably going to do just a little bit more for you. But it is available here for the United Quest at $250. The other things that you will get is you'll be able to earn up to 6,000 PQPs at the same 25 PQP for every $500 spent. You're going to also get potential of 5,000 miles in your account after taking a United or United Express award flight. Now that, if you depending on how you value your points, can be able to add on to covering that cost with that $125 credit. And now we can have the chance to get up to 10,000 miles on your United Quest account. Um, Much of the same of the global entry, the eligibility for complimentary upgrades. So once again, I think it's a good opportunity. Once again, though, I think you need to be a person that flies United a little bit more to make that one make its money back for you and provide that benefit. So so as we see that we're going up in the pricing, it also will help us to know what you're kind of doing as you're going forward. I see Lonnie dropped in again. If I may add, the Quest is a good card if you're actually going to use the card for everyday spend, like streaming services. Explorer has more bang for your buck from benefits and perks. I agree. I find it very hard to, unless there is a required spend, to spend money on most hotel and airline cards, because there's so much more that you can do with the flexible points that are involved. So I agree with what Lonnie's saying, is that there's a lot more bang for the buck, and I don't think that even with the Quest, it's going to be an everyday driver, even for streaming, because you still got a lot of cards that will do that for you and still keep the points flexible. But something to definitely keep in mind. Then, of course, last but not least, we move all the way up to the United Club Infinite. $525 annual fee, 90,000 miles with 5K spend. We get another bump up in the United flight valuation points of 9x. You're still getting the 4x on the hotels. You're going to get 4x on all other United purchases. Then you're going to get this 2x on the dining, the 2x on the transit that we've talked about, 1x. But of course, what you're doing this one for is you're doing it because you're getting access to United Club, which has a value of $650 each year, which covers the cost. So you definitely need to be almost a United warrior to be looking at this card, that you're going to really maximize that lounge. Now, there are some other nice features with it, but that's the first key, that you're really going to get the value of that lounge access. And then the other things I'll touch on just makes it gravy for you to be able to look at. Once again, you're going to get first and second check bag, just like we saw in the Quest. We're going to get the primary CDW. You're going to be looking at up to $100 statement credit on the global entry, the complimentary upgrades. Boy, I left that first check bag free again. I don't know what I was doing. Baggage delay, lost luggage reimbursement, trip delay, as we saw on the Quest. But now we end up seeing that you can get up to 10,000 PQPs per year. And once again, if you're going to be flying United a lot, definitely this might end up fitting well for it. You also will get Avis's President Club, which guarantees car availability and a complimentary 2-car class upgrade. You'll also get IHG Platinum Elite status, which, as I mentioned when I was talking about Kauai, once you get to that platinum level, that's when you can end up getting that night free when you're staying. I think it's fourth night free, I believe, for them always mix up my fourth and my fifth nights, but I believe that one is for fourth night free. And then you'll also get a 10% discount on your United Economy Saver Awards when you're flying within the United States and Canada. And then you'll also get return protection, which if you have American Express, probably have seen it a lot. Basically, if the vendor won't take your item back in the first 90 days, then the credit card will kick you back the money back for you. But that's what you're kind of looking at with United credit cards. I think that I think it's a pretty much of a thing where you're going to probably be looking at the Explorer because of that value at only $95, and that's in the second year. And then you're looking at the Infinite if you are a person that is going to be flying United a lot, care about status, going to use the lounge access. There's probably a spot though for some people in Quest that for paying that 250, but it almost seems like you're kind of going to be at the 95 or jump all the way up. But the Quest is there also. And I think like I said, I think that if you're a person that's flying United, it's definitely something to look at. So that's kind of the things that I've got listed for things. And just want to make sure if anybody's got any questions or thoughts or comments for us to touch on or to talk about. And definitely you can we can do it in the comment section as well. A lot of things going on, and definitely let me know what your thoughts are about touching on these Reddit topics. Like I said, I thought it was something to engage in some kind of conversation, and I find it interesting seeing as many other perspectives as possible, and I think that the Reddit topic could be able to do that for us. So, um, if nothing else, I want to thank each and every one of you all for joining the live stream this evening. As always, it's recorded, and I'm going to be getting this put together into chapters as soon as we're done with this and get it back up. Well, it'll be up, but I will put the chapters in the meantime. And definitely share your thoughts and comments on anything with this live stream. And I can't thank you all enough for sharing your time with me tonight. And everyone, take care.